Well, I'm simply asking the Secretary of State to be held accountable for sweeping changes he made that has created a crisis of confidence here in Georgia in our election integrity. I mean, when you look at what happened in 2020 under his leadership, his failed leadership, he failed to act, he failed to communicate, and he failed to do his job. He implemented a consent decree, unbeknownst to our General Assembly, that materially changed the absentee ballot signature verification process. He accepted $5.5 million from big tech, unbeknownst to Georgians. He interfered in our runoff election by releasing a recording of a conversation he had with President Trump just 2 days before our election. So I'm simply asking for an investigation into potential conflicts of interest because Georgians need to know that they can trust the process. We have two big elections coming up in 2022, the primary and the general. We have a local runoff coming up here, or a local election coming up in June. Georgians need to trust the process because we saw 339,000 Republicans who voted in the general that did not come back out and vote in January. So that is suppression when Georgian voters don't trust the process. And that's what I'm focused on.
Do you think, though, that the president railing against that process cost you a win?
Not at all. Look, Georgians lost confidence in this process because of the unprecedented changes that Secretary Raffensperger put in place, failed to communicate, failed to implement on a uniform basis across the state that led to mass confusion. He did things like, in addition to mass mail-out unsolicited absentee ballot applications, in fact, it led to the investigations in our General Assembly and on the Georgia General Assembly of the primary election, where it was found out that 1,000 voters voted twice. We haven't completed those investigations, and that has undermined the confidence of Georgia voters, both in the primary and in the general, and now in the runoff, where no investigations have been announced. So we need to hold him accountable and to understand why he took these actions and why he interfered with the leakage of the conversation he had with the president just 2 days before our election.
Well, I think part of that leak conversation was what appeared to be the president looking for votes. Now, you'd have to be there, I guess, to know how that was framed, but it did sound suspicious. And I guess what I'm asking you is, given the investigations into this, given the hand counts and others that happened in the state, is this overdone? Do you believe that you would have won without this, that Donald Trump would have won without this, that former Senator Perdue would have won without this?
Look, what I'm focused on is protecting election integrity. My argument is that's what Secretary Raffensperger should be focused on, is election integrity. We need to understand what happened in November and in January to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And so my focus isn't looking back to change the outcome, it's looking back to learn and to see what happened. And if nothing went wrong, why is Secretary Raffensperger afraid to have a look back? And that's all I'm asking, is to hold our top elections official accountable. And he should welcome that investigation, because what would happen is we could create more confidence in our state to make sure that more Georgians turn out to vote, because that's what this is about, is making sure that everyone's voice is heard.